Folks, I hope you're all having a great afternoon. It is a cloudy but partly sunny afternoon here in Texas. Allergies in Dallas are going crazy just because it is allergy season. Today we're taking a look at Blaire White, taking a look at who she is as a person. And I'll also be taking a look at what her public career is going to look like. What is going to be like the final outcome, for instance. It's interesting. Sun comes up, exposure just flipped out when I was shuffling. I shuffle until Spirit tells me to stop. I want to do a 9-card spread first on who she is really as a person, right? Because she definitely projects a persona, but when the chips are down, when she's in her sweatpants at home and nobody's paying attention, who is she, right? Well, there's Sun again. So I'm going to do a 9-card spread over here, and then later I'll expand out into a Grand Lenormand, or a Grand Tableau, I should say, when I'm ready. To get into what her public career is going to look like by the time it's all finished, all said and done. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. We have Garden, which is all about the public eye, being surrounded by people while they're looking at you. And it's kind of interesting. It's landing on the house of the Scythe, which tells me that this is about something is ending, or she's going to be forced to confront something, or something's going to break. Possibly, I'm getting a great big habit breaking, maybe not big, or except, you know what, this will be big, right? And she loves being out in the public. It feels like she needs attention. So it's like this is going to be like public excoriation or something like that. And it's going to be around for a long time. I can see like how that's been like an influence in the past. It's like she kind of really enjoys the attention. I think it's so fascinating how Lenormand and Tarot and other divine tools work, right? Because here is Blaire, and she lands on the house of the Whip. She is someone who enjoys conflict. She is someone who enjoys punishment. She enjoys all of this stuff. So it's like she has kind of like a kink for, I don't know if it's like straight up sexual, because I don't know that it's covered. I'm looking for the Lily house on this particular... Oh, there it is. So I don't see Lily anywhere in this particular spread either, so it may not be sexual, but there's some kind of emotional, psychological gratification that she gets from being hit in words, if that makes any sense. It's like she feels like she's doing something right if people are being nasty to her, being openly like critical, nasty. It's like she doesn't tell a difference. If people are against her, that means that she's doing something right. She doesn't always see it as something that she's doing wrong. I'm getting that in childhood, this is something that parents probably encouraged. Parents would say, oh, kids are just being mean to you because they see something in you that they like, and that might have been true, and that's not always a bad thing to say to a kid. That's not always an untrue thing to say to a kid. But constantly falling back on that excuse might have been something that Blaire heard quite a bit growing up. And I said, here she is with the whip, and look at that, directly adjacent to it. This is something that she has loved for a long time. She likes punishment. And she is kind of different in that kind of sense. When I think of Tower and Cross, she's pretty isolated in this. Like, people don't like punishment the way that Blaire does. It's so interesting. It's like she puts herself between the left and the right and any other group that dislikes her, because she gets such a big, she gets such a big kick out of that. She likes it. It feels like she's likes being set apart. She likes being, oh my God, this might be a little bit of a narcissistic side, and please take this with a grain of salt. This could be untrue, but I feel like she kind of sees herself as a kind of Jesus figure who's being crucified by all these people who hate her, and one day they'll see the truth of whatever message she wants to put out. I don't know how much thought she puts behind her message. Like, if you were to ask her, like, what is your reason for living? Why are you here? What do you want to do with your life? I don't know that she would be able to answer. She just knows that when people are yelling at her and saying mean or nasty things, that she thinks she's doing something right, when she isn't, right? Very isolated in this kind of thinking. It may have been that, I know that this is about the future, right? Past, present, and future. She is in her future, and I see this continuing to be her burden. There may be a point when it's not so enjoyable to be punished all the time, but she's not going to be able to let that go, because that's she's Blaire White, right? At this point, she's built up a reputation as a provocateur, and there'll be some days when she doesn't want to wear that or wear that particular mantle, and it's going to isolate her terribly. She's not going to be able to stop this conflict snowball. Even when she thought she could control it, it's going to fly out of control at one point, and even when it's out of control, she's not going to like it as much, right? I think that the only reason that she can kind of like all this punishment coming from people is that, to a degree, she can control it. She says something, she does something, she gets a reaction out of people. She feels like she's controlling a situation, but eventually it's going to be in a place where it's going to be out of control. She's going to really dislike it. Something's being exposed about this. Her burden of carrying around this conflict. I can see that going forward into the future. What was this again? Scythe. That's right. So Scythe is going to be the kind of thing where it's going to be pretty severe. It's going to be a hard one for her, and especially when it comes up alongside Cross and Tower. This is going to be something where the public says, you've been doing this all along. You've been making a shitload of cash. Grow the fuck up. And I feel like they're just going to cut her off. This is going to moving this all around. This is going to come up really, really quickly for her. This exposure is just going to happen lightning quick. I'm getting kind of Eight of Wands energy, and where it kind of comes, this event comes out of the blue, and suddenly everybody doesn't like Blaire. Everyone is sick of Blaire. Shit, we're ready to move on to something else because something else has come up. It's like Blaire won't be able to do enough. It's like this is like political entertainment for her, and she won't be able to be entertaining enough anymore because economy is going to be going to shit, or politics is going to be going to shit, and she's just going to be kind of drowned out in all the spiritual manure, if you will. And she's kind of already getting there, if you will. But I see that happening, and a major influence into what happens in her future. Is people just saying, we're tired of this, we're tired of you, we're moving on. And when she doesn't have attention, that's going to be a killer for her. For her public persona, it's going to be pretty severe for her. You know, I see something, like there's something, somebody, I take this with a grain of salt, somebody may have been saving a message. This has happened before. People are saving back. Nah, I said people. Look at that. That's a social group. There are people who are saving back text messages that she sends them. And they're going to reveal it to the public, and it's going to travel like crazy. That's a writer. That's news traveling as quickly as possible. How fast is the speed of light? Right? And that's what I want you to take from that particular sun card. Once her ex-friends, her supposed friends who were maybe posing as friends, they're like, she tends to attract a lot of fake people because she puts on such a fake persona, because so many people, like, she gets such a kick out of people disliking her. How can people be friends with someone who is in that kind of cycle? And I get that she's a pretty lonely person, right? This is a cross that she must carry alone. When the chips are down, she's not going to have very many people to call. Maybe not even that many family members, because people are just going to be tired of her shit, especially those people who say, we've got these text messages that we've been holding on to for a really long time. It's time to release them to the public. And that's where all this shit really kicks off. But we got to keep in mind, I asked, who is she really as a person? This is it. This is all of her own doing. She burns bridges. She picks the wrong people and burns bridges with the wrong people, and the wrong people have some ammunition against her. This is who she is, a conflict-filled individual. Could not be less at peace. Deeply conflicted, like, that's kind of like how she kind of like externalizes her own internal conflict when she gets to focus on dramas and petty fights going on around her. She doesn't have to focus on whatever's going on inside of her that she really needs to deal with in order to grow up into a badass individual. It's such a fucking crying shame that this is who she's chosen to be. It's not over yet. She's still alive, right? There's still changes that she can make, and this is still could turn into a really neat, badass story if she wants to turn it around that way. I don't know that she's going to do that. I want to take a look at a grand tableau really quickly with how her public career is going to go, let's say from this point forward until its end, okay? Let me get set up with that really quick. So once again, folks, let me shuffle until Spirit tells me to stop. And then we'll lay out the cards for a grand tableau. Okay, folks, let's get into this right away. I'm looking at the heart of the situation. I was kind of... when I was laying out the cards, I was like, holy shit, dude. You don't necessarily have to be a Lenormand reader in order to read this like a sentence. That is sexual destruction, right? And people are going to be talking about it like crazy. It's going to be like CNN's going to pick it up. Like mainstream news outlets are going to be talking about whatever sexual destruction is in for Blaire White. And that's not a card that I'm pleased to see. There's a real risk that this might be cheese pizza. Okay? I hope you understand. I don't know if it's like Blaire... It sounds like Blaire might be acting as an ally to someone who is associated with child sexual assault material. Okay? And here we come up with the conflict card again. She likes the conflict, and I'm seeing a lot of her enjoying the conflict that comes around her sexuality specifically, but this is going to make it makes everything so much more difficult for her. It even amps up the destruction coming from this because she loves the conflict. People are going to be coming at her harder than ever before, and she's going to be all like, oh my god, yes, stay mad, I'm drinking it up, yes, like, she may not necessarily be doing that behind the scenes, but if you look at, like, this is going to be happening, rings of destruction, rings of conflict, like over and over and over, like it's just going to just stick around. People are going to discover old articles, old information about her. They're going to bring it up, and it's just going to flare everything up all over again. That's the heart of the matter right there. Look at that. That's the garden and the ring. The public is not going to let her forget. The internet is not going to let her forget this. They're not... Oh, Jesus. I'm tempted to look at the sun. Oh, I wonder why. Look at that. Mice. There's going to be a point where, like, the exposure is just going to eat her alive. Psychologically, emotionally, it's going to kill her. Not, like, literally. Please excuse me, okay? And I probably shouldn't say. It's going to, like, she's going to hate it more than anything else in her life. She's going to hate it. It's it's because she's going to she's lost power by this point, right? Once people like pick up on all the shitty stuff that she's done, she's going to fucking hate it because it's going to be out of her control. That's what's going to, colloquially speaking, kill her. Okay, please excuse me. yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, she's going to hate it. She's going to hate it with all her heart. With her cards of fate, here you've got destruction being opened up, all kinds of drama. That's together with the lily. All this sexual drama is going to blow up in her face, and it's going to stick around for a long time. It's going to affect her money. She's going to have to, like, resort to other techniques, like other ways of getting money, like living for stuff, right? That may be stuff that she's not accustomed to. Cross lands on cross. This is going to be a burden that she cannot share with anybody. It is going to be absolutely insane to carry this around. She's not going to be able to go anywhere without people recognizing her and people yelling at her. I'm sorry, I pulled that down, right? So I'm looking at Scythe and Anchor. She's constantly going to be cut off from stuff. She's constantly going to be forced to deal with really shitty situations that she can't run away from anymore. And it's just going to be, she's going to hate it. Like I was saying, like I was repeating earlier, she's going to be in such a shitty state of mind. She's going to hate it. I don't think it should surprise anybody that here she is facing the snake, which is about being two-faced. That's no surprise. About being a liar. I'm trying to think about what to say here. There's some kind of, she might be sticking up for an individual in her life. I think what this is saying here, that she is definitely she. There's no doubt about it, right? On the other hand, I see her covering up for a masculine figure in her life. She might be that kind of person to throw away everything just for a dick, right? I wonder if she isn't that kind of person. In fact, I'm looking at this particular deceptive male that may be in her life, for instance. There's some kind of text message, like I was saying earlier, that this is leading up from the past. There's some kind of message that she might be covering up for this individual, and she should not. She doesn't want people to know about this dude under here. Okay? So I think it's kind of interesting. The cards are saying, without a shadow of a doubt, she is she, and it's so unfortunate that people have to be born in bodies that are not in alignment, are not perfectly in alignment with who they are as people. Let me just get that out there, right? The cards are definitely confirming that. But I see this as someone who, this dude that she's covering up, or this more masculine individual, this person that she's covering up for, knows how to play people, is what I'm getting. There's some intelligence with this particular person. He knows how to play Blaire, because she doesn't think that far ahead, as she only thinks so far as Is this going to get people to pay attention to me? Is this going to make it so that people react to my trolling? That's as far as she thinks. Once she catches the car, once she's the proverbial dog that catches the car, she doesn't know what to do with it. But this guy that she fucked around with back here does, I should say. He knows what to do. He knows to hold back his cards until later. He's got some secrets, dude. He's got some serious secrets that he's been holding on to for a long ass time, that he's waiting for the perfect moment to spring and say, Blaire did this, right? And it's kind of like Blaire is going to kind of have to lie in the bed that she made, because she's propagated all these lies and awful myths about people in the trans community. Those lies are going to come back on her, because he's going to take an opportune moment to say, Blaire did this awful thing to me. It'll be the exact thing that she's been kind of like hammering other people for, but she's not going to be able to get away from this. She's going to make a choice to journey away into what it is that she really, really wants. She's got something emotional in the future that it might be a struggle for her to get, because people are going to expose what it is that she really, really wants. It's going to make her deeply emotional. I'm feeling like she's going to be at risk of losing this deeply emotional desire in the future, because people are just not going to let her get away with the stuff that she's been accumulating. She's going to try to go for her wishes, hopes, and dreams, but I feel like they're going to be foiled just because of these destructive cycles that she has set up. I feel like she surrounds herself with people who are more intelligent than her. Not all of them are like that genius, okay? But there are like 1 or 2 or 3 people in her past who are genuinely intelligent, who have high IQs, and who know how to wrangle, like socially engineer the situation so that they come out looking like cool people, and she comes out looking like the bad girl. Not in a good way, okay? I want to continue to read into her future. This is where it looks like things kind of start to heat up. This is where things are kind of right now. I'm seeing this is happening right now. This guy who's going to expose her in the relatively near future, this isn't as far back in the past as I thought initially. I was thinking like when she was like in college or something like that, like 9 years. I don't know how old she is, right? But I thought this was a decent while ago. It's not, right? This looks like it's happening kind of right about now, because this is where her public career ends. He's right here, and he's a risky ass dude, because once again, we talked about these secrets which he holds on to until the opportune moment. And as you can see, she doesn't run into her heart of the situation, but he does. And yeah, dude. Ooh, this is a destructive individual. And once again, he's going to talk about all her secrets, going to air all her secrets out like dirty laundry. Conflict. Once again, she loves the conflict, but I think that this is going to be too much for her, because this is going to like hit way too close to home. I don't think that she wanted this out. This isn't the kind of thing that gives her a thrill. It is going to give other people a thrill. This is going to give her enemies such incredible fucking ammunition. She has no fucking idea what's coming for her, dude. It's going to destroy all kinds of hope that she might have for love in the future, if she ever, for whatever reason, wanted to settle down with somebody and try the whole family life. And I kind of don't think she's the kind of person to... I think that she would get bored with that. Personally, like, she would be a fucking hellion to be around. Like, can you imagine having her as a mom? Holy fucking shit, no, dude. Like, oh my God, having her as a spouse, hell no. But this is going to absolutely ruin any chances of her having love and affection And she was already kind of a selfish individual anyway. She already had selfish reasons for loving people to, once again, give her another type of attention that the public can't necessarily give her, right? But that's why she would date people, is they would give her something, but this is going to ruin any opportunities that she will have with anyone. Like she's going to be like radioactive. She's just going to end her sex life. She's going to end her dating life. She's going to go elsewhere. Looking at like she wants to go elsewhere, but people are going to stop her. They're going to they will hound her to the ends of the earth. She might try to go a little bit quiet. I don't know about all the way private, but she's going to try to go quiet, and people aren't going to like this. She's going to say, like, fine, I'm just going to try to survive on my own. Fuck all you guys. I'm leaving you behind. And people are going to chase her. They're going to chase her down. This exposure is going to be incredibly destructive to her. Yeah, and it's never going to leave either, dude. They're not going to leave her alone. They're going to hound her to the ends of the earth. They're going to take pictures of her everywhere. If she's trying to relax someplace, she might be trying to... There might be some people who take pictures of her in like really compromising positions because she was trying to relax somewhere. She thought she could. And people like, oh, fuck yeah, here's our opportunity. And they get all kinds of... I don't know. Maybe. Okay? Take that with a grain of salt. The future is always in motion. Very isolated individual. Her lies are going to isolate her, quite literally. She's going to be forced to own up to them, or her lies are going to basically be boa constrictors that kind of wrap themselves around her. Life is going to be difficult. Life is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to hide anything anymore. She won't be able to bury anything. Like, this kind of like gives me the hint that you're kind of like laying over like winter food, if you will, if you're kind of like that kind of fox who needs to take care of themselves. But with this case, like, it's just going to be hard for her to exist because people will hate her so much. She'll try to end her whatever public career that she has left, dude. She'll try to go private, but people aren't going to let her have it. People are going to expose even like... They're like... I was thinking like love letters, and that's a pretty common term for this. Exposing destruction, I should say. Exposing a destructive love letter, even. There's something about this. So I wonder if she didn't say something to someone that maybe she said something for money, said something love-based for money, and that's going to come back around to bite her in the ass. It's like she does stuff leading up to the future and then suddenly decides to do good things in the future because she knows all this shit is coming for her. There's some kind of choice that she's going to make in the future for money, probably to get this attention off her, and it's going to be like, she might like attempt like a wedding or something like that. Maybe not to this guy that has such a huge, maybe it will be to this guy. I just realized I'm looking at this right here. She might choose to marry this guy because money, fame, and clout, and it's going to be hell to pay for her. And it's going to be really gross. It's going to be kind of a gross wedding. I'm getting all kinds of slurs around, like, how, like, she markets her wedding. But how people talk about this stuff is going to, like, be disgusting. You're going to see it from both sides of the right and the left. So at this point, Spirit says that we've covered pretty much everything that there is to cover about Blaire. Spirit says that Blaire isn't that deep or that smart of a person. Please take that with a grain of salt. She can increase her mental capacities by flowing much better with the universe, flowing with her spirit guides, her deities. You know, there's always the possibility that somebody can redeem themselves, but I didn't see it in this particular spread. I see her as being a pretty vile person going into the future, y'all. Okay, have a great day. Take care.